Hello there, my name's Nigel Gorski and I'm a chartered accountant practicing in the Bingley area. This is one in a series of videos that I'm producing to try and help people get the most from their businesses. Today we're going to talk about making tax digital. You will have seen it advertised all over the place, possibly social media. You may have even heard some of the major software providers advertise on local radio, seen it in the papers and seen it pop up on your computer. It's something which is being very, very heavily advertised at the moment. So what are we going to do today? Well, I'm going to try and tell you a little bit of background about it and also whether it applies to you, because believe it or not, it may not apply to you. So before we get into the guts of this, let me just remind you this is an information video and it's not designed to give you any specific advice for your business. You need to talk to somebody if you want that kind of advice. So let me give you some background. A little while ago, HMRC decided to become more digital with their taxation to try and make life easier for professionals and for businesses. And this is the first stage of a rollout of this process. VAT is first. So who does it apply to? Well, believe it or not, it is not all VAT registered businesses. There are some complex ones or ones that are not digitally enabled that don't go in immediately. But the one that most people seem to be missing at the moment is the fact that businesses that have traded below the VAT threshold in the previous 4 quarters do not need to adopt this. So would you believe that's approximately half of the businesses in the UK don't even need to worry about this, yet you'll have had adverts from your software providers and you will have seen a letter from HMRC. However, 50% is a big number that does need to worry about this at the same time. So what do you actually need to do? Well, there are 2 routes for this. Firstly, you might get a bookkeeper or an accountant to do everything, in which case let them get on with it. If you do your books and your VAT returns yourself, which a lot of people do, then you probably need to take note at this point. The first thing is you need to determine if you're in, bearing in mind the VAT threshold and how you've been trading. And if you are in, then you need to determine when you go in. So the when is the interesting one because it only came into effect for VAT periods beginning the 1st of April 2019. So for example, you've got to file a 30th of April quarterly return in 2019. That's the old way. You don't need to worry about it at the end of April, but you will need to worry about it at the end of July. So how do you actually do this? Well, firstly, the days of being able to log on and fill 9 boxes on the gateway have gone if you are in, and you will need to get some software, which is where you'll have seen all the adverts. This software needs to be compliant and it needs to be able to store your VAT records digitally and it needs to be able to submit a VAT return. Okay, that's fine. You can do that, but make sure you try 2 or 3 bits of software because software providers offer different things and there are some things that people prefer and don't prefer. So have a play with 2 or 3 of them and decide before you actually jump in and stick with it, because it is quite tricky to swap between providers once you've actually done it, and it could cost money. So make sure you get it right to start with. Secondly, talk to your accountant, talk to your bookkeeper as well, see what they're using. Then the other thing that you need to do, which is not clear when you see all the adverts, is the gateway that you use to submit your VAT return will not be useful for digital VAT returns. You will need a digital VAT account where your software can talk to the new server, because if you try to send it to the old one, when you have migrated, it won't do it. So there are 2 things you need to do. Look at the software and also make sure that you've done the bit behind the scenes with HMRC. So hopefully that's been useful to get you on the right track, and I'd like to wish you good luck with making tax digital. If you've got any other questions, give me a shout, and thank you for listening. Thank you.